Hi guys, Tony Sweet again. I'm sorry the last video cut off. I don't know what happened, but I think we're good to go now. We cut off sound on this picture right here. Let's talk about that a basic black and white concept is that you need some contrast. Ideally, you need some pure black and pure white. Not a lot, but go across the entire black and white spectrum from pure black to pure white to have some contrast somewhere. And right now it's extremely flat. Now there's enough in here that I believe we can pull it out. And the plugin that I use for, let me add a layer here. There you go. See it? Command J. Put that in. The app that I use for that a lot for that specific issue is Perfectly Clear. I think they have version 3 coming out. Same basic idea. And here's what that does. Okay, really punched it up. You see the separation. We'll address the color in the background later. What I like right now is the way that it steps up and really punches. I mean, look at the difference. Let me touch the screen here. Before, I would call that like night and day. You know. Now we have pure white. See it right here? Doesn't need a lot. And we have pure black. And here we really did nothing here is white. So that's our first step. And if I'm going to adjust the opacity, I will do so in here, not over here. But we can play around with various settings, see what they do. This app is primarily for people, and it's tremendous. And one of the great benefits that they found is that it's also good for stuff like this in nature and outdoor photography. See, a little brighter. These are all things we can adjust in Photoshop. And I would prefer to do things there rather than in plugins like this. However, the default setting on this Perfectly Clear is really good. They have a series of presets here. They're really good. Again, this plugin shines with people, but it's not bad for adding contrast back into your scene, something like that. Now, we're going to say OK, and the sky's still a bit out. It's no big deal. We'll create a, we'll do a claw, remember that? The claw, Command Option Shift E on Mac. And I'm sorry, something similar on PC. I'm not sure exactly what the PC version is, but it's in that same basic key range. I'm sure someone knows it there. So, and then we will say at this point, we will go into, let me see here. Let's go to grayscale. Flatten everything. Discard color. Now, see the sky's all fixed. Now we've got a pretty good black and white from what really wasn't a very strong initial image, which was this. And then we came out to here. Now you will need to go in and maybe take care of these edges here with, let me create a layer real quick. There we go. And just fill in the black holes with a lasso, maybe. Just maybe grab this up here. And then hit Shift Delete. Content aware. Then hit OK. And then fix it. You see where it fixed it? Then you move it around. Just do it again until it's all fixed. There's many ways to do this. I'll just clone in here and get that done. But that's how I would treat this shot. And we'll go on here. Okay. This is an excellent composition. I like the 3 major trees. We have 1, 2, and 3. I don't like this. I'll get rid of that fragment. I'll do that now with the crop tool. We don't want extraneous like at the edge like stragglers. We want those out. It's not quite in, not quite out. Take it out. And the foreground's fine. And the top is fine. So we'll just say OK. Now it's a much cleaner composition to begin with. And again, it's a little flat rather than doing what we've done already perfectly clear. Let's try something else rather than perfectly clear. You've seen how that works. Let's have a look at Intensify from MacFun. They're pretty much picking up the mantle of Nick, the old Nick software, because it's all those guys in MacFun. All their stuff, which includes Aurora HDR, is tremendous. Intensify Pro is kind of camera raw on steroids. And I'll show you what I mean by that here in a second. Okay, here we are. Now, what do I want to do? I want to bring down highlights, bring the contrast up a bit. There we go. Get some action going on here. Bring the shadows back just a little bit. And then we can say, I'll leave the contrast alone, I'll leave the structure alone. I think it's enough. But again, you're invited to play around with these things. Detail is your basic sharpness, and I will tend to stay mostly in the midtones when I do that. See, brought that out just a shade right in here. And again, for serious sharpening, I'll do that in Photoshop before I print, based on file size. Everything else is fine. Now, the good thing about this is at the very end, after all this stuff you've done, at the very end, there's an amount. There's an opacity. And I can say, here's where I didn't do anything, which is what that is. Then you can bring up various levels of the effect. If you think 100's too much, you can dial back everything to roughly here. And then we're going to say OK. We'll say apply up here in the upper left. And I'm thinking we need a couple of grads to hold back the top and to bring up the bottom just a shade. So let's create a layer, Command J over here. And then we'll go into, remember, Filter Camera Raw. Yeah, I use this a lot. Now I'll just drop in a couple of grads. Grab the first one here from the top down. You see it darken up a little bit? Nope, did two of them, sorry. Delete. Do one at a time. All right, there's, if you grab that center line, it can move up and down. See it? So somewhere around here, shadows are good. Highlights are good right there. So that basically takes care of the first grad, the dark in the very top. Now from the bottom, it's already selected. We can do grads as often as we want. If you've just done one, right to the next one from the bottom. Real nice feather all the way up. And this comes in with the previous settings. So these settings here are what we had on this one. They might work, they might not. Let's have a look. All right, let's see if we can pull that back a notch. That's about as good as we're going to be right now. I would think for a second about filling in these areas here, but they're too large, and it will not look natural. So I'll just leave them, and we're going to drop in a texture. See if we can deal with those white areas. So I'll just flatten this. We're fine. And go into my flypaper texture files. This is the Russell Brown Adobe Paper Texture panel that you have notes on from the seminar. So let's see what we have here. It's nice and like this. Okay, now it brought in, see how it toned down the white holes, put kind of a texture in there. I kind of like this, and it comes in multiply mode. So I can go up and try darken mode. Kind of loses the richness, doesn't it? I like that better. We got one more move following this now. How about soft light? No, that's nothing there. Overlight, maybe a little bit better, a little bit worse, sorry. All right, multiply. I like that. The overall scene is a bit dark. No problem. problem. I'll go into layer, adjustment layer, and do a levels layer. And then readjust a white point and black point. Okay, the black point's good. The white point will bring it up just enough. See, that's where it was. And we're going back here. It just does not take a lot. This works for me. Yeah, the whites are all toned down. We have a nice texture. Let me show you. Yeah, there you go. Didn't take much to get to that point. Let's go over here and see what's up. Okay, I spent a lot of time on this on the previous video. But basically, let's just do it again. Because I have no idea what I did. So I'll try something else. I don't know. Okay. I want to do a layer first. Add a layer. And then I want to do a camera raw series of adjustments. That means highlights down. Shadows up. Contrast. And then exposure down. And then we'll go down to our whites. See if we need more punch. Just a little bit. Clarity, no more than 3 or 4 or 5, something like that. And then our vibrance. I want the greens to be a little more pronounced than they were in real life. That's too phony. The vibrance is better. What's the difference between vibrance and saturation? What is the difference? I don't know. I hear a lot of opinions. But I try one first, and then try the other one, and pick the one that I like. Yeah, this isn't quite right. The greens are a little too phony, so I'll use this one. Something like that. So our greens are good. And then we'll say okay. How about the temperature? How about warmer? It's an abstract. How about something like that? A little less. Somewhere in here is good. And then we'll say okay. Now here it might not matter. Why don't we try to, okay, here's a good move for the edges. First of all, select all, Command A, and then we'll say edit, transform, warp. Any kind of weirdness around the edges of the frame or the corners can be addressed easily by selecting warp and then just pull. You can grab the handle. You can grab anywhere inside of the picture and just pull that out. Get rid of the hot spots. How about over here? It's an abstract. Do whatever you want. How about over here? Okay. All right. Now I think we're getting there. Hit return. And I want to fill in these spots. It's an abstract camera movement. It's not as dependent on any kind of accuracy at all because this all schmoozed up kind of anyway, you know. So why don't we let's try a few things. Let's go to the patch tool. You guys know what the patch tool is? You can select an area and then you drag it and then it puts where you dragged it to over here. Isn't that nice? See it? Let's try it over here. Now, no software is perfect. You see how it worked pretty well. But this works okay. Nobody knows. It's an abstract image. You know, a lot of movement. Okay, that's all good. I can live with that. It might be a bit tough. Let's do this real quick. Get this up here. That's fine. How about up in here? You see, now it's going to get funny because in the big white patch, you know, and that may not actually work. Yeah, but that's the idea. That's one way to deal with it. I'm kind of hurrying now, but obviously it takes more time and more thought than I'm doing right now. All right, that's okay. Anyway, and a little bit here. Just try to mitigate these hot spots. That's all. You can have a little bit, but not like huge globs. This is fine right here. It's no problem. And then we will. I want to try a little bit of see what we got here. It's still a bit flat for me, so I'm going to go back into perfectly clear. Let's try a layer of this. Okay, that's really, really hot. But what if I say yeah? And then it comes in up here. Then we can pull the opacity back and see if we can use some of it. No, it doesn't work. We'll take this out. Let's try topaz. Oops, sorry. We still need that corner there. Let's go into topaz here. And I love their impression software. It's one of my favorite plugins that I use when I want to get into more of a quote-unquote artistic kind of a realm, you know. Okay. And then we have our settings here. You pick any one. Pick a painting. How about just painting? Got a bunch of presets. That's not bad. That is not bad. Because I wanted more of a really bright, low contrast kind of a color. This isn't bad either. But the real fun part is that I can say, okay, let's take this in. Now, once you have a selection, you can go into this little circle here. Pardon me. And then you can adjust even further. Brush size, paint volume. You can go through these one at a time and get the look that you like. Here we go. A little more stuff in here is good. Etc. Just right down the pike, you know, to see what it does. I'm going to stop here. This will appear on another level, another layer, I mean. Let me say okay here. Now we have two layers. Come on in, guys. Huh. Well, there it is. You can see it. It's just not showing up here. Isn't that weird? Oh, opacity. There it is. There we go. Sorry, I missed that little detail called opacity right here. Then we'll pull this back a little bit. So we get a blend of the two styles. There we go. So that's not quite right. And I'm kind of liking this one. So notice the difference between the original and the optimized. That's a result of like pulling all those stuffs out of the edges, you know. And the picture isn't quite the same, but it's close enough. Yeah, it's close enough. So I'm going to go with this. Very nice, soft, impressionistic image. Doesn't look phony. Looks like painting. No pixelation. Anyway, that's what I will do with that. And now our last shot. Okay. Yeah, I know this shot's Duke. It's a really good shot, Duke. I like this. I never shot back with the water at my back, you know, and I really like this composition a lot. I like how you had the tree pointing in from the corner, kind of moving your eye from left to right, which is natural for us to do. The cloud detail's tremendous. And just the overall graphic, where it kind of like just thins down as it goes through the frame, is very good. Good design. Very strong design. The pan crop works very well, as you know. But I wouldn't change anything, man. Really, what are you going to change? I mean, it's a busy scene, but it's really outstanding. Really good job. All right, guys, that's it for the remedial critique here. Sorry for the mistake on the first one. So, okay, that's it. I hope this works. If it does not, please let me know. We'll get it right. Thanks a lot. Bye.